Hello, welcome to Mondays with Mira, and today we've got a wonderful book by the super smart, super talented Melissa Sweet. And what it is, it's a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood as an alphabet book, and it's very, very cleverly done. And both of those are a really hard sell these days. Retellings were huge in the 90s, but they've kind of been overdone unless it's really, really innovatively done, which Melissa has definitely done here. Alphabet books are also a really, really hard sell because there's a million alphabet books out there. So anyway, let me bring the picture in close so you can see. And she's got a very contemporary look that has been copied a whole bunch. And she also has a fabulous drawing book. And I think it's called an e-book. But it's a real, tangible book with step-by-step drawing techniques. It's just delightful. So, Carmine, a little more red. And she starts off, she's got a great hook. She starts off with a little map that includes Grammy's house, the wolf's den, and then it starts off alphabet, and then you've got a spoon with Carmine, and you've got these words coming out from behind the door. Ring! Carmine, your granny's on the phone. Carmine had a beloved granny who taught her how to read by making alphabet soup. Granny spooned the letters to form a word, and before long, Carmine was reading the whole bowl. Whenever Granny makes a pot of alphabet soup, she invites Carmine to lunch. So there's lots of really fun little touches in here. On this day, as always, Granny told Carmine it was important to stay on the path and beware of dangers along the way. Hi, Gran. Great alphabet soup. Yum. My favorite. Can't wait to see you, too. You heard a wolf howl last night? I'll be careful. Nah, I won't stop along the way. Right, I'm riding my bike and I'll watch for potholes. Okay, be there soon. We've got one side of the conversation, and look how cleverly she's done it. And one of the other things that she's done here is she uses her own really smart handwriting, and she's stacked it all up with these cool speech bubbles. So anyway, it goes through and it shows her that she's an artist. And then and here I haven't been reading out the actual thing. So A, alphabet. B, beware. On this day, as always, Granny told Carmine it was important to stay on the path and beware of dangers along the way. Clutter. Clutter. Carmine rummaged through her clutter and gathered up pencil, paper, and pen, anything else she might need along the way to Granny's. And then here we've got a bird, and it's a cardinal. And then we've got what's called a second visual story, and that's with her dog. We saw the dog on the first page with its legs up in the air, and then here she is bounding out with the dog. And here's the dog in her bicycle basket. And there's just layers upon layers upon layers with this book. It's so clever. Dilly-dally. Some people dilly-dally once in a while, but Carmen made a habit of it. Carmen's mother reminded her, go directly there. Please, no dawdling. Don't dilly-dally, your granny will be waiting. Bye. Okay, bye. And I said Carmen, it's Carmine, the colour. So as you can see, there's a lot going on. There's also quite a bit more text than I really want to read right now. So the words are exquisite. It was a clear morning. The light was exquisite. Carmine began making a picture for Granny. Farther, she started filling her painting with color. It may seem far-fetched to think that any painting can be improved by adding a little more red, but Carmine believes it to be true. Poppies in the distance caught her eye, and she wanted farther to get a better look. Wonderful, wonderful watercolor illustrations. And one of the many things that Melissa is really, really good at is depth of field. So you see she has something in the foreground, something in the middle ground, and then something in the background that really gives us a sense of depth and perspective. And it also, one of the other ways that she does this by having the whole figures. So nothing is cropped off except the things in the very foreground. Beautifully, beautifully done. Very artful, very contemporary. Haiku. Thinking of Granny, Carmine wrote a haiku. My granny is plump, her soup will make you want more. The secret is bones. So that's a haiku. Clever. Marge is cracking up over here. Indeed. Meanwhile, Rufus noticed an odd scent in the air. Indeed, he knew a wolf when he smelled one. Sniff, sniff. So, joke. Rufus was nervous at the thought of a wolf nearby. It is no joke that a wolf could eat a dog in the blink of an eye. Typically, wolves eat mice and other small creatures. And so down here, she's got this little drawing, this little insider joke of the 3 blind mice. So you can see the book is just full of puns and funny things and, you know, totally cool illustrations, Noel and lurking. And, you know, I could spend a good hour going over this book and deconstructing it and pointing out all the brilliant bits and pieces. But one of the things I want to talk about is how she very cleverly uses words that would normally be outside a young child's vocabulary, but she contextualizes them in such a way that it's very easy for young kids to learn these words. I also want to talk a little more about the artwork. And here it's primarily watercolors, but it looks like, you know, she's also got pencil, colored pencils, maybe a little bit of oil pastel in there. She uses collage bits and pieces. Let me find one that's got some collage. As I mentioned, she has great depth of field. And she also simplifies her shapes beautifully. So here you can see, if you look up close, you can see there's some grid paper at the very top that she's painted over and obscured in bits. And so it's got a bit of a scrapbooking feel as well. Another thing that she does is she uses light and shadow very well. And this creates volume. Have a look in the face, how we have some light and shadow in there in different spots. And so let me see one where it's a really clear light source. So in this particular page right here, we can see that our light source is coming from the left, from this, oops. Our light source is coming from this side, because this side is in shadow of her face, and we also see, I hope I'm pointing in the right place, we also see some shadows behind the trees going on the side that would be out of the sun. So we've got darker shadows here, so it tells us the light is really coming in the mid part of the tree, because this part is dark as well. Let me see, you know, great words, omen and pluck. And let me just read those out. The mockingbird reminded Carmine that her granny had heard a wolf howl just last night. She wondered if this bird was a sign of trouble, a bad omen. And she looks worried. Pluck. Anyone else might have gotten the heebie-jeebies from a bird making sounds like that, but Carmine had a good deal of pluck. She rolled up her sleeves and went back to painting. A rustling noise in the bushes made Rufus quiver. It's so clever. I love this book, and I love Melissa Sweet too. I heard her talk at an SEBWI conference, and she was just so brilliant and so generous and wonderful. Here she's got the sort of stacked speech text. So it's a way of doing dialogue that doesn't make it look text heavy, and that doesn't make it look pedantic or didactic or any of those kinds of formal ways of showing speech. Yeah, it's definitely not didactic or pedantic here. Sorry. So here's Rufus talking to the wolf. This is the wolf. You're going where? To Granny's? Bark, bark, bark! Woof, woof, woof! Gruff, gruff! Ruff, ruff, ruff! Bark! Hurg! And your friend too? It's where? The little white house over there, over the hill and through the field. Granny has a flock of sheep. She's plump. Perfect. A meal for me. And my pups too. Really? Granny makes the best soup you ever ate? Oh, she makes it with bones. And look at these words, reckoned and surreal. Rufus began to bark, and the wolf knew exactly what he was saying. Surreal as it may seem, dogs are descendants of wolves, and it made sense that the wolf could understand his language. So that's all I'm going to share right now. I think you have to just run out and buy this book because it's so wonderful. If you've got kids, they'll just love it. It was published by Horton Mifflin, who do some wonderful books. And I hope I've turned you all on to Melissa Sweet, who I kind of have a little art crush on because she is just so fabulous and so smart and so warm. You know, that personal warmth really infuses all her work. So that's it for now. Thank you, and bye from Mira.